The Dallas Cowboys hit the road for the first time during this NFL regular season to take on their foes, the NFC East New York Giants. It's a divisional matchup, so what are you watching in this game?
I think, first of all, the Cowboys and Cowboys fans should feel fairly fortunate about being able to come out of those first two games with a split. I think if you would have told the Cowboys, hey, listen, you're going to go to the Giants and then have Washington week 4 at home, and even though the Giants are 2-0, they are a flawed 2-0. I think that's fair. You're going to play the Bucs and the Bengals, and you're going to split them, and then go to New York with a chance to come out of there 2-1 and not to look too far ahead, and then have the Washington Commanders come in here. That's not bad. The Giants setup is an interesting one. They've obviously played very good defense. They've made some gutsy calls under the head coach, the first-year head coach Brian Daboll. That's helped them to overcome some problems on offense. They have Saquon Barkley as a weapon on offense, and respectfully, at least in the way they've used them so far, not many other weapons. That's helpful news for Micah Parsons and the Cowboys. Yeah,
we also have some major Cowboys updates when it comes to the injury report. Let's start with quarterback Dak Prescott and then move to wide receiver Michael Gallop.
Dak Prescott, the Cowboys are now talking about not this week, but maybe as early as week 4 against visiting Washington.
Wow.
Maybe almost certainly try for week 5 against the Rams. And this isn't about the Cowboys marketing.
They're not trying to sell fans on this.
And I understand that concept, and Jerry Jones brings that on himself.
Yeah.
But the game against the Bengals, and we were there, you were a 7-point underdog, you didn't have Dak Prescott, and you were 0-1. They still sold 94,000 tickets. And it was still one of the highest rated CBS games in the last 3 years.
And after the game, Jerry Jones was asked, hey, does Cooper Rush's great performance affect the timeline for quarterback Dak Prescott? He says, no, it has nothing to do with each other.
Right.
And you got to believe him when he says that.
Right. So it's not about Cooper Rush. It's not about hype. It's not about pushing Dak to do something that his hand or his thumb should not do. The medical staff wouldn't allow that. As soon as he's able to comfortably grip a ball and not have it go flying sideways out of his hand, he's ready to play. And they can put some sort of a device on the back of his hand. I wouldn't want to get the back of his hand hit by a helmet against Washington or the Rams or whatever. So good news on the progress of Dak Prescott. It's clearly not going to be 8 weeks as initially feared. Jaron Kearse is starting to do some work. He's still in the rehab process. It'd be great to have him available for Monday. We shall see. Connor McGovern, the offensive lineman, rehab process, and then Michael Gallop very much stepping up. As we sit here midweek, a full slate of practice reps for him. Now, when we get to Monday, I think Michael Gallup's going to play at this early stage.
Fantasy football managers rejoice. Run to the waiver wire.
But maybe on a pitch count. And not because his knee isn't ready, because they wouldn't play him if his knee wasn't ready, but no, there's probably a certain level of game condition that you just can't quite replicate in practice. But Michael Gallup availability, and then maybe for the first time, the rookie Jalen Tolbert gets a uniform. Not that he's had major injury issues, although Mike McCarthy has mentioned a lingering hamstring. But the release of Dennis Houston, the undrafted rookie, is a sign as it relates to Gallup for sure, and maybe for Tolbert as well.
And there is no doubting that defensive coordinator Dan Quinn has turned around this Dallas defense from one of the worst in the league to one of the best in the league. And of course, it's helpful when you have Micah Parsons on your side. But do you feel like Dan Quinn's name is going to be thrown around even more for head coaching gigs following this great start to the NFL season?
Your point about the turnaround, Bree, is really good. 2 years ago, this was the worst Cowboys defense in history by the numbers. And then, by another gauge, make kind of an eye test, I remember talking to Darren Woodson, and he said, I just can't believe how bad they are. And we all remember Troy Aikman on national TV. It was Cowboys versus Bengals that year, and he said, they're not even trying. This is a terrible setup for the Cowboys. And then the Cowboys replaced Mike Nolan, a defensive coordinator, with Dan Quinn, and draft Micah Parsons. And the next thing you know, this is one of the most electric defenses in football, that's for sure. And through 2 games now with Micah Parsons as the centerpiece, I mean, they're not giving up points. They're not giving up touchdowns to Tom Brady or to Joe Burrow. They're off to a brilliant start here. If you can control Burrow and Brady, theoretically in week 3, you can control Daniel Jones.
Micah Parsons has 4 sacks already in the season, 2 in his first 2 games. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but he's on pace then for 34 sacks this season.
34 sacks, and somebody asked Jerry Jones after the Week 2 victory against the Bengals about the 34, and he wasn't catching up with the math, but he did respond by saying, it's like Roger Maris' 61 home runs. So it is kind of like that. The 34 sacks, I don't think is really going to happen.
Right.
But what Parsons has done, I believe in his first 18 games with 17 sacks.
Yeah, it's insane.
Makes him more productive in that area in his first 18 games than DeMarcus Ware, Lawrence Taylor, Derek Thomas, Bruce Smith, all of them.
Yeah.
This is the greatest sack start for a rookie, and then progressing from there in recent NFL history.
Right.
And part of the result of what we saw in Game 2, when they played him almost exclusively, maybe even totally exclusively at defensive end.
Yeah.
Now what do you do if you're the Giants and you're trying to find him? Because we need to quit calling him a linebacker.
Yeah.
And he's not just a pass rusher. He's all these things and more. I think the idea of calling him because this is his favorite animal and this is his college, and he likes to talk about how the lion needs to hunt and the lion.
So he just wants his position to be lion?
How about linebacker?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You're going to make a t-shirt over that.
I'm a professional journalist.
Do you feel like Micah Parsons could actually win NFL MVP this season?
I think he's going to win. Certainly he's on pace to win NFL Defensive Player of the Year. And he finished second to J.J. Watt in that category a year ago as a rookie.
Right.
When you look at the odds makers and their numbers, they don't have him there yet.
Yeah.
But that's partly because this is such a quarterback-centric concept. And so it's Josh Allen and it's Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And then here comes Tua a little bit. And here comes Jalen Hurts a little bit. Maybe Tua cools down. Maybe Hurts cools down. Micah Parsons, in terms of his impact, not just sacks, but more, I don't think Micah Parsons is going to cool down. The odds makers want to go ahead and hurry up and put him on the board somewhere.
Love that. Quarterback Cooper Rush has been described as calm, cool, collected. You could also tell his confidence, which is something that isn't necessarily prevalent in a backup quarterback. But we just talked to head coach Mike McCarthy, who said you can tell in his eyes how confident he is. Were you surprised at all at how well he was able to work this offense?
His very first game that he got in a preseason game, and it was at Canton in the Hall of Fame game. And I was there watching it, and at some point in the game I got a text from the legendary agent, Lee Steinberg. And he said, "I told you." And I'm trying to think, you told me what? Then I remember him saying, this Cooper Rush kid, undrafted, redheaded, rookie, free agent, that he's got a little something.
Right.
And in that game, he looked like he did. And here's Lee Steinberg saying,
"Wow,
I told you." Now
he's going to text you that again, I think.
He can do. Lee Steinberg, you're welcome to text me again, because you were kind of right then in regard to being an undrafted rookie free agent, and you're certainly right now. He's 2-0 in 2 career starts. If Cooper Rush was faking confidence before, and that's possible, he's not faking it anymore. And the Cowboys' confidence in him is through the roof. Ezekiel Elliott, going into this game, said, listen, he knows his stuff. Other guys in the building calling him the quiet assassin and saying he's got a computer for a football brain. and then all those things added up. Now, it's fair to mention, if Brett Maher misses the 50-yard field goal at the end of Game 2,
different storyline. If
somebody has a holding penalty somewhere on that final drive, if Trayvon Diggs doesn't make the tackle of the sort that he doesn't usually make, frankly, and a million other things that could have gone sideways. Now we're talking about panic in the streets and the hot seats, and we're not having this conversation about Cooper Rush. But the ball bounced right, and he handled ball very well, Cooper Rush did.
I love it. The Cowboys head to play the New York Giants as they are getting ready for this NFC East Division matchup. What are you hearing whisper-wise around the building? Jason
Peters, and I had a conversation with him right after the game against the Bengals. I think he's close to ready. And they don't want to put, he's 40 years old, and he hadn't played football, practiced football all summer long.
Yeah, they literally called him off his couch.
Absolutely. Now, he was waiting for the call off the couch from the right team, and this is going to be the right team. Is this the week? Is he a left tackle, where he was a 9-time Pro Bowler? Is he a left guard? Should he start? Or should he be the swing? Which would be easier for him?